Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a lariat necklace today. I just can't seem to go very long without making a lariat. I don't know why that is. I just enjoy making them. I'm using some of the products I got from Beebeecraft. In case you're not familiar, Beebeecraft is an online craft supply store. They have lots of beads and bindings and jewelry making supplies. If you have a channel and you have at least 100 subscribers, you can apply to be in their YouTube program and get products and do tutorials for them. I'll post a link in the description box below so you can check that out if you want to. They offer free shipping for orders over $25. Their website says the free shipping is not only for customers in the United States, but also other countries. I have a coupon code. It's Teresa10, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below. It'll save you 10% off your order if you make an order with them. I'll put links to all the Beebeecraft products I'm using in the description box below, along with links to the other tools and supplies I'm using, as many as I can find. And I'll also link the Beebeecraft homepage in the description box below. These are I got 10 strands of 4mm natural and synthetic mixed gemstone beads. And this was one of the strands. It kind of looks like goldstone to me, I'm not sure. And then these, I got 10 different strands of 8mm natural gemstone beads. I don't know what this gemstone is, but it's a really dark green. I've got these in here because this is going to be the front of my lariat. I've got some of the 8mm beads and some of the 4mm. I've got some, I think these are check glass leaf beads that I had in my stash. I'm going to be using these 11.0 metallic dark bronze Miyuki seed beads as spacers, and I've got some of them in there. I've got a couple of bronze links here, and I've got a round link that I'm going to put in the front of the necklace. And I think that's everything in there. And then I have some more of the check glass. I think those are maple leaf beads. And in here I've got some chain. I don't know how much I'm going to need. Got some jump rings, 2 wire guardians, and 2 2x2 crimp tubes. I've got 4 pieces of bronze 22 gauge German style wire that I'm going to be using. These are about 4-inch pieces of wire. I've got my bead stopper. I've got my soft flex beading wire in fine, and this is bronze, but you can use whatever bead string wire you have. I've got my chain nose pliers, my round nose pliers, and my tweezer pliers. I've got both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers. I've got both pairs of my crimping pliers. I use the Zero ones for crimping, and I use the bead-along ones, the little part at the end there, to tuck in the burrs when I cut off wire, the burrs that are left. Got both pairs of my cutters. I use one pair for bead stringing wire and the other pair for head pins and eye pins and craft wire. I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. Hold on, I get some of my beads poured out and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads poured out here. I'm going to start doing the front part of my lariat, and I forgot. I always forget something. I had a ball head pin here that I'm going to put this little leaf right here on. And I'm going to put a seed bead on top of there because to fill in that little crevice there, it's just easier to wire wrap if that's filled in. Now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers. I'm going to bend a 90-degree angle over the tool. Take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Hold on tight and take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. Then I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers. Pull this part down here until it gets at sort of a 90-degree angle to the other wire. my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Get that first wrap good and tight. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'll take my beadle-on crimping pliers and go to that part at the end there with a little half circle on each side. I'm going to tuck my burr in that's left from where I cut off the wire, but I'm going to be really careful because it's really easy to crack that little seed bead there on the end. So you need to be really careful when you do this, if you're using a seed bead at the end there. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my pieces of 22 gauge wire. I'm going to go down about 1.5 inches. Make a 90-degree bend over the pliers. Take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take the shorter piece of wire and pull it up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers, but first I'm going to open my loop. Almost forgot that. I'm going to string on my little leaf dangle that I made here. I'm going to close my loop back. Now I'm going to hold on to my loop, pull my wire down here till it's at a 90-degree angle to this wire. And I'm going to wrap around with my fingers about 3 times. Now I'm going to cut off the extra wire. Now I'm going to put on one of my little 4mm beads. These have very tiny little holes. One of my seed beads. One of my 8mm beads. One of my seed beads. One of my 4mm beads. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend the 90-degree angle over the pliers, my round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the beads. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers. Hold on to my loop, pull my wire down here. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to make my wraps. Get that first wrap good and tight. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr. Okay, that's what I got so far. I don't think this is, I wanted it to be like that. So it'll be hanging the way I want it to. I think I might be wrong, because I'm going to attach it to this with a jump ring. No, I'm going to attach it to this with a jump ring. I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll take a jump ring. These are 6mm jump rings. Open up my jump ring, put this part on, put my link on, close my jump ring back, now no, I'm not ready to do that yet. Now I'm going to take a piece of my wire, go down about 1.5 inches, make a 90-degree bend over the tool, take my round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take the shorter piece up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire, like that. That usually stands your little wire almost straight up. Take my bent chain nose pliers, pull this part down, bend the wire around about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off the extra wire. Now I'm going to take one of my 8mm beads all by itself and put it on here. Now I'm going to go to the end of the very tip of the pliers, bend at a 90-degree angle over the tool, around those pliers in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, hold on tight, take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead, take my bent chain nose pliers, bring this part down, my other pair of bent chain nose pliers, start to wrap. Get the first wrap good and tight. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. And I know a lot of people go ahead and tuck in that first side when they first make it, but I always wait till I get the bead, both ends wrapped, because it seems like it's a little easier for me to, if I try to do it without a bead on here, I usually end up mangling the loop and the wire and everything else. If I wait till I have that bead to brace against, it seems to help. I don't know why. I'm going to take another piece of my wire, take my pliers, go down about 1.5 inches, make a 90-degree bend over the pliers, around those pliers in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take the shorter piece and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. And you all might notice I'm making my loops a little bit smaller than I usually do. I'm wondering if that might help. You know how when you make these, sometimes they can get bound up in each other. And I was hoping maybe if I make the loops smaller, that might not happen. I don't know if it'll work or not. But now I'm going to open my loop and I'll put on this little link that I made here. Close my loop back. Take my bent chain nose pliers, hold on to my loop, bring this wire down, wrap this part around about 3 times. cut off my extra wire. I'm going to put a 4mm bead and a seed bead, an 8mm bead and a seed bead, and a 4mm bead. I'm going to take my pliers, straighten this loop down here up, but it's wanting to not be straight. Now I'm going to take my pliers and go to the tip of the pliers. Bend at a 90-degree angle over the tool. Put my round nose pliers in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the beads. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Hold on tight and pull this part up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the loop wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers. Hold on to my loop, pull this part down. Hold on to my loop tight so it doesn't get out of shape. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Get the first wrap good and tight. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. So I'm going to connect this way with the jump ring. Open my jump ring. Put this on here and this on here. This is what's going to come through my ring. Now I'm going to make something to go on this other side here. So I'm going to do my last piece of wire, go down about 1.5 inches, make a 90-degree bend. Put my round nose pliers in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take the shorter piece of wire up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Take my bent chain nose pliers. I don't know if this is going to work. I think I've mangled something or something. I'm going to try to wrap this around about 3 times. Yeah, okay, that's all right. Now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. I'm going to put one of the little 4mm beads, a seed bead, my red maple leaf, another seed bead, And another little 4mm bead. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the tip of the pliers, make a 90-degree bend over the pliers. I'm going to run those pliers in the crook of the bend, run those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the beads, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part in under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads, take my bent chain nose pliers, pull this part down, I'm going to take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Get that first wrap good and tight. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. I don't think I cut that off good enough. And now I'm going to take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr that's left. Okay, now I'm going to connect this to my ring here with the jump ring. This ring is pretty thick. I might should have got a bigger jump ring than this. Okay, so that's what the front part of my lariat's going to look like. Now the rest of it is going to be stringing, so I'm going to have to figure out how much stringing I need to do. So hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I forgot that I was going to attach this to this, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to take a jump ring, open it up, attach my little link here, to this part. Now, the way I figure out how much stringing I need to do, I usually make a lariat about 32 inches. This part here is about 3 inches. And I usually put about 8 inches of chain around the back of the neck, so that's 11 inches. I want both of these sides to meet before I put the chain on. So 3 and 8, that's 11, minus 32, that's 21 inches. So that would be about 10.5 inches of stringing on each side. The wire guards and crimp tubes will take up at least a ½ inch, so I'm going to say I need 10 inches of stringing. Add to this. This is about 2½ inches, so I'll need 7½ more inches of stringing on this side, and then this is 1 inch and 3/4. I'll just string this until I get to my 10 inches, but I'll do this side first. So I'm going to take my beading wire here and show you what my pattern is going to be. I'm going to start at this end, and I'm going to do one of my little 4mm beads. And a seed bead. One of my 8mm beads. And a seed bead. One of these flowers, these sort of, I don't know, teal and mustard colored. Some green in there, I think olive green maybe. And then another seed bead. And then another, this red, dark, kind of burgundy red flower. And a seed bead. And I'm putting them on in this direction because this is going to go here. Like that. So I want them. Okay, I left a spacer. I left a 4mm bead out. Supposed to put a 4mm bead here. I turned it around the right way. I saw that I had made a mistake. Now a seed bead in my flower or leaf, and another seed bead, another 4mm bead, and a seed bead, and my red leaf bead, and a seed bead, and a 4mm bead, and a seed bead, and an 8mm bead, and a seed bead, and a 4mm bead, and a seed bead. Now this is going to go here, and I'm going to keep, get it down here so you can see it better. This is going to go here, and I'm going to keep just doing an 8mm bead, seed bead, 4mm bead, seed bead, and I'm not going to put any more flowers on this side. That's all the flowers I'm going to have on this side. I'm just going to do 8mm, 4mm separated out by seed beads until I get this part from here to be 10 inches, including this part. So this, what did I say, that was 2 inches or 2½ inches. Yeah, 2½ inches. So I need about 7½ inches of this. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get to 7½ inches, and then I'll come back and we'll crimp it. Okay, I've got the length I need on this side now. So I'm going to crimp it. So I'm going to put my crimp tube on. And my wire guardian. Come down the other side of my wire guardian, the other channel. Go back through my crimp tube. Hold my wires apart and don't let them get crossed. Take my little wire guardian in. I'm going to go in the part that has the little tooth there. I'm going to lay my tooth on top of my crimp tube. I'm going to squeeze. And that puts each little wire in its own individual channel. I don't really think it did. I think I got no, it's on there. Okay, now I'm going to go in there's 3 circular half circle parts on each side there. I'm going to go in the middle one because that's the one for the 2x2 crimp tubes. And I'm going to, that's just bothering me. That doesn't look like it looks like it's in the same channel. I'm going to do that over. I'm going to cut this off and do it over. I don't want to take a chance on stringing all this and then it break on me. I have to find my crimp tubes here and get me another one out. I don't know what I did with them. Hold on, let me get another crimp tube. I've got another crimp tube now. Put my crimp tube on here. Put my wire guardian back on. Go down the other channel of the wire guardian. Back through the crimp tube. Hold my wires apart. And go in the part with the tooth. Lay the tooth on top of my crimp tube and squeeze. Okay, that looks better. Now I'm going to go into that second part where the circular parts are and lay my crimp in there. Squeeze. Go down to the next one. That's for the 1mm crimp tubes. Squeeze and tighten it up. Tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut my wire off. Okay, now I'm going to cut it off my spool here. Take my other crimp tube. My other wire guardian. Go down the other channel of my wire guardian. Back through my crimp tube. Don't let my wires get crossed. I try to go through a bead or two on this side to get my hands out of the way. Don't know if I can or not though. These little gemstone, the holes in these gemstones are really, really tiny. I don't think I'm going to get through there this time. Make sure my wires are not crossed, and I'll tuck in my little wire guardian like I did on the other side. And hold on to my wire guardian and pull my wire through. Now I'm going to make sure there's no slack in my piece, but I don't want it to be too tight either. I'm going to go in the part there with the little tooth again. Lay my crimp tube in there. Squeeze. I'm going to go in that circular part in the middle again and lay my crimp in there. squeeze, and go down to the next one, squeeze to tighten it up, tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my wire. So I'm going to connect that side, which is wanting to bend in a weird way. I'm going to connect that to this. It's because I couldn't get back through a bead or two, and it wants to not be straight when you do that. I'm going to connect this side to this one, so I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring. And put this on here. Connect it to this. So now I'm going to get my beads out and get ready to string up the other side. Hold on. Okay, now I'm going to string this side and make it meet this side. Make it as long as this side. So I'm going to start with one of my little leaf beads here. And a seed bead. And a 4mm bead. And a seed bead. One of my red leaf beads. And a seed bead. A 4mm bead. A seed bead. My last one of these, well, it's not my last one, I got a few left, but the last one I've got laid out for this project. Seed bead. $4mm bead. Seed bead. 8mm bead. Seed bead. 4mm bead. Seed bead. 8mm bead. Seed bead. $4mm bead. Seed bead. 8mm bead. Seed bead. So I'm going to keep doing this. This is going to go like that. And I'm going to keep doing 8mm, 4mm spaced by seed beads until I get this side the same length as this side. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp it off camera. And then when I come back, we'll put the rest of it together. So I'll be back. Okay, I got my other side strung up here, and I realize you can't see it all because it's very long, but maybe I can get it in one shot when I get done. I'm going to take a jump ring here and connect this part to this part. And I forgot to cut me a piece of chain, so hold on, let me get that done. Okay, now all I have left to do is to put my chain on. This is about an 8-inch piece of chain. So I'm just going to take a jump ring. Put my chain on each side. And now I'm done. So that's what I've got. So now let me see if I can figure out how to get it all in one shot so y'all can see it. I'll be back. Okay, there it is. I had to pretty much double it up so I could get it all in one shot, but there it is. Made with products that I got from Beebeecraft. Like I said, if you all decide you want to make an order from them, that coupon code will save you 10% off your order. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, hope y'all have a great day. Take care.